My name is Dia Thomas. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and I am 34 years old. I'm a holistic health practitioner, wellness coach. I have had quite the mental health journey, which I'm sure a lot of people have. I was 20, 21 years old, and I was a senior in college. And it was really out of nowhere because I was double majoring, doing really well. I was competing riding in equestrian, doing really well. I had a great social life. I had already had a very successful paid internship with Fortune 500 company. I had great friends. Like nothing on paper would indicate like this person is going to get hit in the face with horrible crippling depression. And then I just remember it was towards the end of my senior year of college, and I'm not one to like I'm a nerd. I'm not one to miss class or isolate normally or any of that. And all of a sudden I just like couldn't get out of bed until like 4 p.m. and like I just was so down and this fatigue and brain fog. And luckily, I had studied psychology a little bit and heard a little bit about depression because X amount of years ago when I was 21, like it wasn't all over social media as much as it is now. Like now everybody would be like, "Oh, you have depression," like "Oh, I've seen depression TikToks, so I know." But I had some knowledge from like being in a psych class and just like some people sort of experiencing it around me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, am I depressed?" And so I made an appointment with the school counseling center, and ultimately, temporarily, I decided to medically withdraw because my depression just got to a point where I could not function at all. I couldn't get out of bed, and that's kind of where it all started. It just really hit me in the face, and I would say that started around this time, moving forward into like even kind of currently, but just some stuff regarding like my family and some other things that are just more personal. But so that all started, and it started to really affect me. It was really a struggle for years and years and years. So I have really tried everything. So I actually did the ketamine infusion treatments. So I think this is going to be kind of a good perspective to bring to people, and everyone's different. But I went into these ketamine treatments. First of all, they're like $700-800 a pop. So and they tell you to do at least six plus maintenance. And I was just in a really low, desperate place. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna, I've heard this works and is a miracle, so I'm gonna do it. And yeah, I just didn't have a great experience in the long run. I didn't feel any benefit. You spend all this money and your hopes are so high. And it's just like this one, I mean, every infusion is just one infusion. It lasts like an hour and a half, depending on how you process it. You don't have your own space to like relax and make it your own experience, um, as much. And it's just so intense at once. So it's a lot of intensity at once. And then it's just over after an hour. And to me, I felt like there was too much pressure of like, oh, I have to make this hour count because it's like $800 worth of an hour of healing. And, of course, I felt it in the treatment. I felt, the disassociation. And I did have some insights, I guess, to a point. But unlike Joyous, once it's over, there's not really room for implementation, in my opinion. Like it's just the session's over, you go home all fuzzy. And I remember the next day feeling like a little, like I looked around and I was like, oh, things are a little brighter. Like, okay, maybe I feel better. That unfortunately like didn't last for more than 1 or 2 days after. So I did try to keep, but they said, and I told them that at the facility, and they were like, well, you need like at least six. So, I did that, and it was just the same thing every time. And it was really disappointing at the end because I had spent so much money and I had so much hope. And, I'd heard about microdosing, different like psychedelics, and I didn't really know ketamine microdosing was like an option. But my psychiatrist, who I love her, even though medication hasn't worked very well, like she just knows me well. I've had her for years. Like she's such an advocate for my mental health and overall health. And she was like, I love ketamine. And she was like, did you know you can microdose it? And she told me about Joyce that way. And it's so much more, it's so insane how affordable it is. Like it really is amazing. I started Joyous, by the way, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Yeah, so I'm new to Joyous either way. But yeah, I had really tried everything. And I think, some things helped a little bit more than others. I have always been in talk therapy, which I think is, especially if you have the right therapist, it can be helpful to a point. Um, and I've tried SSRIs, antidepressants, mood stabilizers, kind of all the medications that you would try, and nothing really worked. I would say like maybe there were one or two SSRIs that like didn't necessarily make it worse. I don't know if it helped, but I mean, I really wasn't functional. So when I was on most of the antidepressants, and what I didn't like about them and what I love about ketamine therapy is I just felt really numbed out. So, I mean, when wasn't still depressed anyways, I was just kind of like a walking zombie. I just felt numb. I'd be like, if I was at a social event with friends, I'm very good at faking the smile, but I'd just be faking that smile, but on the inside, really just like numb and blah, and kind of looking around at all my friends experiencing actual joy. And I just was not. And I think that's fairly common. And there's other side effects too, like it would affect my appetite in a way I didn't like, headaches, kind of just like some physical side effects. But I mean, really the worst is kind of the apathy it causes, in my opinion. I've read like online, sometimes people like to bitch about, stuff. And like I was a little, I'd read on Google like, oh, this company's not responsive. I mean, I've read that about like all of them. So I was nervous. But I kind of forget like the very first phone call, if I'm being honest. But I reached out to someone, and oh yeah, like they kind of told me what I needed and all this other stuff. But from day one, everyone was so helpful, which is really nice and supportive too, and like personable, but like knowledgeable at the same time. Because a lot of people like myself, you're calling and you're kind of often at your lowest, where you might not be as mentally sharp, like you're kind of brain foggy and just like not feeling as much hope as you normally would. So it was really nice because I mean, the first phone calls through all of them have been someone who knows what they're talking about, like supportive of the journey going forward without like too much pressure, but just, very supportive and always able to answer any questions. Of course, I have a lot of questions for my doctor every time, like, and she's always able to answer them. But yeah, the intake, I had to get some forms signed. Once they were sent in, it was a very quick process. My psychiatrist was really quick about it. Luckily, she got everything signed and we sent it in, and the approval process was like a couple days. I mean, it was so quick. What I love about you guys too is that like you have training courses ahead of time that you can take and be prepared and understand how to implement and set intentions and make it a really productive experience. I went in very prepared, and I had like my meditations picked out before and everything. And I'm a holistic health like, practitioner. I do a lot of work with energy medicine and different healing modalities. So I also incorporated some of that into when I have my own sessions. Like it's also given me a healthier lifestyle. Like I make better food choices. I am not binge eating like I used to, because it like I'll have insights like, why are you putting that in your body? Like why are you eating that way? And then I'll be like, oh, okay, and I shift it. So like a lot of bad habits too. That's the other thing have lifted for me, and kind of self-destructive, I guess, behaviors that we all have, just things that aren't don't serve us anymore. Um, Lift as well. But yeah, I love that it's kind of customizable, but like it empowers you. Like it's up to you to take it, but also implement it and actually like slow down and get these insights. I mean, it was amazing the way, like I said before, my self-limiting beliefs would just lift. And these are self-limiting beliefs for me that were holding me back from like functioning in a very basic way in life. And my life was really starting to not be one I was proud of, and like holding me back from my career, going for jobs, getting a job, socializing, getting into new hobbies, just different things. And the ketamine just allowed me to see like you're fine. Like it was kind of like a hand on the shoulder, and just like you got this. So yeah, these beliefs, I realized like it gave me insight where I was like, okay, wait, this is so insignificant. I can face this. And like the next day, I would make a phone call for a job or go to some social event that I'd been putting off sometimes for like over a year. I mean, so it was giving me and it still does, gives me the ability to actually heal and then follow through with things in life that I had never been able to do once my depression started affecting me heavily. Although I think that down the road, like in maybe a month or so, it'll be I'll be even more in a place where people are going to notice, because I feel like right now I'm still new in the program where I'm still a bit raw. I'm still having releases, but I definitely am already, first of all, I've lost a lot of weight because it's like changing a lot of my bad habits. So one of that was just eating poorly and not taking care of my body. People have noticed that, and that they're like, you just sound better. There's something about you. I've been hearing that from like, whether it's just like, the gate guard in my neighborhood or something, or someone I see at the grocery store a lot, to like friends and family. Yeah, a lot of people are noticing that. And like people closer to me are noticing, because I was in hermit mode, just isolating for a while. They're noticing that I'm getting out more and stuff like that. So I think as it goes on and I start to implement and kind of make even more changes, I think, yeah, I think people will continue to notice. So, it's microdosing the ketamine instead of it all hitting at once. And in that way, I think it's a lot safer. And Joyous works with you to start at a low dose and find the dose that's appropriate for you. So, you start small, but you will be comfortable the whole time, because, or at least I was, because you guys check in with us every day. You see how we're doing, and even on a daily basis, you can adjust our dose for us. And that's really amazing to be able to do that, but also to be able to do it in the comfort of your own home and take it and kind of have control, like you were saying, of your own session and your own implementation. So I get to be in my bedroom, which is kind of my oasis. Sometimes I'll go to the beach though, because I live right by the beach and it's very healing there. But you can make it your own. I'm a holistic health practitioner. You can do Reiki to yourself if you're a practitioner. I do Reiki on myself. I do special meditations. I sometimes can use my sound bowls. Like, you can't do that. You can't really do any of your own stuff when you go to like a clinic and have this intense infusion. You can barely move. So I mean, I tell Joyous, I tell like all my clients who I think it's appropriate, that, yeah, about Joyous. And I literally will say, you're welcome to try obviously the infusions, but like, I think this is 100% better. And yeah, so I actually have a friend who is going through the intake process, and I'm so excited right now because I know she's going to benefit. So.